Well, family, it's 2026 and you got goals, and I'm here to help you crush them. My name is Justin. I'm a therapist in real life. I'm also one half of the Mental Caffeine Podcast. And today I got 5 things for you to keep in mind as you make your goals for this year that's going to help you crush these things and make this year your best year so far. With that, let's get into it. All right, family, listen, before I get into those 5 factors to keep in mind as you make your goals for this year, I got to tell you about this guiding principle that's going to influence its way into all 5 of these things. And that is the idea that it's not just about making progress, it's also about feeling progress. A lot of times we can understand cognitively that we're taking steps, but if it doesn't match a feeling of progress, then we're that much more likely to get discouraged and lose motivation halfway through. So by cultivating a sense of feeling progress, it's going to help you not just achieve your goal, but remain consistent in the process, which is often the part that most of us struggle with as we experience day-to-day life and potential setbacks that come along with it. So by prioritizing feeling progress, we're going to be able to remain in tune with it that much more often. All right, fam. So now that we got that out of the way about this guiding principle of feeling progress along with making progress, let's talk about these 5 things. Number 1, the first thing I'd like for you to keep in mind as you begin to create your goals for 2026 is remember to make them measurable. A lot of times people start out with these very vague goals, these things about I want to lose weight, or I want to read more, or I want to work out more. But that's very abstract and not very measurable. It's hard to know if you're actually achieving the thing that you set out to do. So instead, what we can do is really put measurable terms on it, make it concrete. If you want to work out more, how many times per week? If you want to lose weight, how much weight do you want to lose? If you want to read more, how much more do you want to read? Make it measurable. Make it something that you can see yourself getting to at some point in the future. And then, kind of the opposite end of that, where are we at right now? Where are we starting from? Because by having a starting point and a destination point, we'll be able to measure our senses of progress, which will then help us increase a feeling of progress when we can say that I was here, now I'm there, and I feel good about it. So guys, remember the first factor in making your goals for 2026 is remember to make them measurable so that way you can tell if you're making progress or not. And with that said, let's get into number 2. Now, family, the second thing I need you to keep in mind as you begin to make your goals for 2026 is to not only make them measurable, but to break them down into daily goals that you can do to feel as if you're making progress towards your larger goal each day. We've all been there. We have this big goal that we have, and we take a step the first day, we take a couple steps the days after, but eventually we get busy or distracted and we end up losing sight of the intentionality that it takes to continue to move towards it, and we get sidetracked and eventually lose sight of the goal altogether. Instead, what we can do after we have measured where we're at and where we're trying to go, we can then break it down into daily steps. What is the daily thing that we can do to progress you towards that overall goal? If it's about working out more, then what counts as a workout step that you can do each day? So maybe you can't go to the gym each day, but what is something that you can do each day to do something to progress yourself in that way? That helps you not only feel progress, it also helps you stay in tune intentionally with your longer term goal and reduce the likelihood that you're going to get sufficiently distracted to throw you off from the goal entirely. So make sure that you break it down to something that you can do each and every single day. And so we have making it measurable and then taking daily steps. And that leads me into the third thing. Although before we get into this third thing, I have to encourage you, if you enjoy this kind of content and you want us to go further with these kinds of things, come join me and my boy Landon over on our podcast pages for YouTube and Spotify. That's Mental Caffeine on both platforms. And with that, let's get back into it. So the third thing I would need you to keep in mind as you continue to shape your goals for 2026 is after you make them measurable and after you make them daily, then try to prioritize movement towards these goals in a way that you can achieve that the first thing you do in the morning. Now, I understand that it might not be super doable for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. But if the earlier we can achieve this progress through the day, then the more likely we are to feel progress sooner. And it opens up the entire rest of the day to enjoy that sense of progress that will help us feel like we're taking another step. So not just breaking it down into measurable goals, but also doing it daily and also trying to do it as early as possible so we can cultivate that sense of progress on a daily basis. And that leads me actually into the fourth thing. And these last two, I think you're really going to like here. So the fourth thing that we need to do after we've made it measurable and after we've broken it down to daily steps and after we've tried to do that as early in the day as possible, the fourth thing I need you to do is to not underestimate the power of extra credit. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If we say, for instance, that you want to work out 5 times this week, but you actually only end up working out 3, you're going to feel as if not only you didn't achieve the goal, but you might even feel discouraged. However, if we start out this week and we say the goal is to work out 2 times this week and you work out 3, well, then not only will you feel like you've met your goal, you'll feel like you've exceeded your goal. And hopefully that will encourage you even further and provide you a sense of excitement and feel like you're making more progress towards your goal. So making the bar intentionally low that still provides a step of progress each day, if possible, will help you stay consistent and will actually encourage the likelihood that you'll go further than you originally planned. That will help you build a sense of confidence as you continue to move towards your goal. And that leads me into the fifth and the final thing that I need you to know before you begin to make your goals for 2026. And that is the process of making this entire journey fun. Many times, for whatever reason, people associate suffering with fulfillment when it comes to achieving their goals. That they have to push themselves, they have to will themselves, they have to overcome a bunch of internal resistance to achieve a goal. Instead, it's often more sustainable to try to incorporate as much element of fun that you can, because by making it more fun, you're more likely to do it and experience less resistance in the journey. So if it's about working out more this year, or if it's about reading or about losing weight, how can you make these journeys as fun as possible? If it's about working out, if you prefer going for cardio then to lifting weights, then do cardio. If it's about reading, if you prefer reading this genre over that genre, if that's more fun, then do that. How can you make these processes more fun? If it's about losing weight, how can you incorporate foods into your diet that are a little bit more fun and less suffering inducing? So by making our goals measurable and then incorporating them into daily steps, prioritizing them in the earliest part of the morning that we can, and then by incorporating an intentional low bar that we can extend beyond, as well as making that whole process as fun as possible, makes us much more likely to remain consistent, constantly engaged, and feeling progress as we go from point A to point B and to achieve that goal and celebrate when it's time. Before we get out of here, I have to really emphasize the importance of celebrating the milestones that we get to. Lots of times with our goals, we end up just moving the goalposts once we get to a certain place. Don't forget to take time and celebrate the amount of effort and sacrifice that it took to get to where you are. But just because it takes sacrifice doesn't mean it has to be suffering. So make it fun. And with that, if you're more interested in conversations like this, come join my boy Landon and I over on our pages Mental Caffeine at both YouTube and Spotify. And with that, family, it was nice to talk to you again, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.